Hello everybody, I hope you've had a nice Easter and everything. All back to normal now, kind of. I wanted to feedback about, that sounds quite a flash way of putting it, I wanted to tell you about this FOI response. Now this is to do with, was Officer Vicky Holt, who appears in the Netflix documentary, is she related in any way at all, by blood or by marriage, to Dr. Susie Holt, once of Countess of Chester, but now I think she's at Alderhay now. So that's the thing, still trying to find that out. I did it in a very direct way first, and I just said, is there any connection? I asked the police that, and they said, no, we can't tell you things like that. And then Operation Merlin Falcon came up with three brilliant questions in a comment, because it was Operation Merlin Falcon that kind of first drew, my personal attention to Officer Holt, and then the connection with the name, because Merlin said, I'll say Merlin for short, Merlin said, I've not seen this officer before, and her name comes up like typed, on the screen in the Netflix, and she does appear in the original Hummingbird video, but without the name bit. So her name is Vicky Holt, or Victoria Holt, who was working for Warrington Police in, certainly around 2002, I think. A long time ago, because another commenter, I'm really sorry, I could find it, but someone else found that connection of an article in which a detective, Victoria Holt, was involved in a particular arrest or something, a minor sort of crime, relatively minor crime, and but thank you to that person as well. And I couldn't find them, but I just can't, it's in my head somewhere, the name, but I just can't remember who it is at the moment. But I could look it up, and it is out there. It's all out there on the other video in the comments. So thank you to them. Thank you to Merlin. And Merlin, as I say, he suggested three very particular questions. I'll read them out, because I went the direct route regarding, is there a connection between this officer that's part of Hummingbird and Dr. Susie, or the consultant Susie, or Susanna Holt, we know who that is, don't we? Who was kind of part of the gang and all that kind of stuff. But Merlin suggested this. One, this is the question, and I just copied it verbatim and sent it to the police, FOI kind of team. One, was Officer Vicky Holt a Cheshire Police officer or from another constabulary during the interview with Lucy Letby as published and depicted on Netflix? Question 2, was Officer Vicky Holt, as depicted and described on Netflix, removed from the Operation Hummingbird case due to a conflict of interest? Number 3 of Merlin's questions that I sent. Officer Vicky Holt was depicted on Netflix conducting an interview and interrogation of Lucy Letby. Did Officer Vicky Holt recuse herself from any further interviews and interrogation of Lucy Letby? Now, these are fantastic questions, and a way round a different approach, a more kind of subtle approach, in a sense of just asking, is this person... So this is kind of trying to get round their possible objections, but unfortunately the police have kind of done the same thing. They've just said, in accordance with section 1, and then 1 in brackets, and then B in brackets of the Act, our response is as follows: we're not obliged to confirm or deny whether we hold the information you have requested, as if, it doesn't make quite sense there, as if held, anyway, that's what they write here. So as if held, I think I know what they mean. So we don't confirm or deny whether we hold that information, or any of those 3 questions, answers to them. This would relate to information relating to personal information. So they say it's outside of the scope of the Freedom of Information Act 2000. And, it was a great idea from framing of these questions from Operation Merlin Falcon, because it was the idea, well, you've already put her out there, you've put her name out there. And so what's the gist of these? The gist of these questions is, did she have to leave the team, basically, because of a conflict of interest? Did she recuse herself? Yeah, so that was that, and they're just saying, well, we're not going to tell you because it's personal, type of thing. And it goes on to say, and this is a standard bit they always put, it says you should not, because they cite this particular part of the Act as to why they won't give you anything explicit, or they won't confirm or deny. It should not be taken as an indication that the information you requested is or is not held. Yeah, don't confirm or deny. I don't know. I suppose there's nothing really definite to grab on to think, oh, well, that means they're hiding that there is a connection, or that she did recuse herself because of a conflict of interest, sorry. And what would that be, based on the name? Could it be a connection with Dr. Susie or Susanna Holt? That's still possible. It's still open. It hasn't been ruled out, and it hasn't been ruled out, and it hasn't been confirmed. So it's still an open question. It might sound like a long shot just because of the name, and the name isn't super rare or anything around there. In fact, there's quite a number of Holts, and as said, it could be, if Dr. Holt is married, and it could be, and vice versa with Detective Holt, or former Detective Holt, if she's left the force. I don't know. Not sure what her status is. Because I think I asked that as well, and they said there's no Detective Holt that they know of, and so yeah, they're keeping tight-lipped about it, or they're just appealing to the aspects of the Freedom of Information Act to say they can either confirm or deny. But so it's still an open question that I think we need to, ideally, we as in everyone who wants to go down each and every I don't know if it's a rabbit hole, but each potential lead into something which might turn out to be a further complication, so shall we say, in terms of how the investigation was conducted. And I think it would be a very, what would you describe it as? A very interesting thing to find out if there's some familial, by blood or by marriage, connection between Vicky or Victoria Holt and Susanna Holt, the doctor. So I'll leave it there. Thanks very much again to the commenter with regard to Vicky Holt's earlier work with Warrington Police, which is kind of a neighbouring outfit back in the early 2000s, and very much thanks also to Operation Merlin Falcon for these brilliant questions. Unfortunately, it hasn't led to anything. The argumentation obviously was, you put it out there, you put her name out there as in the public, you've kind of handed it all over to ITV documentaries / Netflix, and can you just say, well, did she stay on the team, basically? And if not, why not? Was it due to a conflict of interest? They don't want to go there, they don't want to let us know. It would be good to track this one down to explicitly rule it out, or otherwise, and if it is the otherwise, in other words, there is a connection, that would be most interesting. Coming up to 10 minutes, I don't know why I'm choosing 10 minutes to stop, but I'm going to stop, otherwise I'll keep rattling on. But have a good week there, take it easy, and it's quite nice weather. I hope it's nice where you are. Bye.